It was supposed to be a normal ride. On a Friday night in downtown Chicago, 27-year-old Jason Miller opened his Uber app and requested a ride home. He had just finished a long shift at a local bar where he worked part-time. The streets were busy, neon lights reflecting off wet pavement, and people everywhere were heading into the night. Jason got into the back seat of a black sedan at exactly 11:43 p.m. That was the last confirmed moment anyone saw him alive. According to Uber records, the trip was accepted by a driver named Michael T. The route showed a normal 18-minute drive to Jason's apartment. Nothing unusual, no detours, no cancellations. But Jason never arrived. When his phone stopped responding around midnight, his roommate assumed he had stayed out late. By morning, concern turned into fear. Jason didn't show up for work. His phone went straight to voicemail. His Uber ride showed completed. But there was no sign of Jason anywhere. Police were contacted later that day, and at first, the case didn't raise alarms. Adults disappear for many reasons, they said. Maybe he went somewhere else. Maybe he turned his phone off. But Jason's family knew something was wrong. Jason was reliable. He never disappeared without telling someone, and he never missed work. Investigators requested Uber's internal data. What they found was disturbing. The ride had officially ended at Jason's apartment address, but security cameras in the building showed something else. The car never stopped there. In fact, no black sedan entered the parking area that night at all. So how did the trip end? As police dug deeper, they noticed a small but critical detail. The GPS signal showed brief interruptions during the ride, moments where the tracking froze and then resumed. At the time, it didn't seem important, but those gaps would later change everything. 3 days later, Jason's phone was found. It was lying on the side of a highway nearly 30 miles away from his home. The phone was damaged but still powered on. There were no fingerprints, no messages, no calls after midnight, and no sign of Jason. The Uber driver, Michael T., was brought in for questioning. He appeared calm, cooperative, and confident. He claimed Jason got out of the car early, saying he wanted to meet someone. Michael said he ended the trip as requested and drove away. But there was a problem. Michael's statement didn't match the data. The GPS gaps now looked intentional. Investigators believed the tracking was manually disabled for short periods, something Uber drivers were not supposed to do. Police obtained traffic camera footage from one of those GPS blackout zones. What they saw was chilling. Michael's car was parked on a dark service road, engine running for almost 7 minutes. 7 minutes where Jason's location was completely unknown. When questioned again, Michael's story changed. This time, he said Jason became aggressive and demanded to be let out. He claimed he feared for his safety. But again, no evidence supported this. Jason had no history of violence, no witnesses reported an argument, and inside the car, forensic teams found something else, a small amount of blood. Not enough to indicate a struggle, but enough to confirm Jason had been injured inside the vehicle. The case exploded across social media. Headlines warned about rideshare dangers. People began checking their apps more carefully, sharing locations and recording rides. Uber released a statement expressing concern and cooperation, but Jason was still missing. 2 weeks later, a hiker made a horrifying discovery in a wooded area outside the city. Jason's body was found. The cause of death was blunt force trauma. Investigators finally had enough to arrest Michael T. Under intense interrogation, Michael broke. He admitted that an argument had started over a payment issue. Jason had accused him of taking a wrong route. Words escalated, anger took over. One impulsive decision destroyed multiple lives. Michael was charged with murder and sentenced to decades in prison. Jason's case forced major changes in rideshare safety policies. GPS tampering alerts were strengthened, emergency buttons were redesigned, background checks were expanded. But none of that brought Jason back. His family still asks the same question. How can something so ordinary turn deadly in minutes? Jason trusted a ride home, and that trust cost him everything.